Is the United States on the verge of its most aggressive foreign policy shift since the Cold War? With reports confirming that the Justice Department is moving to indict former Cuban President Raul Castro, the stakes in the Caribbean have skyrocketed overnight. This isn't just a legal maneuver, it is a direct challenge to the power structure of the island nation that has been under communist rule for over 6 decades. Before we continue, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in US politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow and ensures you get the latest updates on these rapidly developing stories as they break. The timing of this announcement is far from coincidental. By choosing to push forward with this indictment as Cuba prepares to mark its Independence Day, the Trump administration is sending a signal that resonates far beyond the courtroom. While NewsNation and other outlets have confirmed the DOJ's plans, Reuters has reported that an indictment has, in fact, already been returned. This suggests that the legal groundwork has been laid in secret, likely for some time. But this legal action doesn't exist in a vacuum. It comes hand in hand with President Trump's recent and very public threats regarding a potential invasion of the island. When you combine a formal criminal indictment of a former head of state with the rhetoric of military mobilization, you are looking at an administration that is no longer interested in the diplomatic status quo. For years, the U.S. approach to Cuba has been a mix of sanctions, embargoes, and cautious dialogue. That era appears to be effectively dead. By targeting Raul Castro directly, the White House is stripping away the pretense of dealing with a sovereign government and is instead framing the leadership as a criminal enterprise that must be dismantled. But what does this actually mean for the region and for the American people? First, this is a massive escalation in legal warfare. Indicting a foreign leader is an extraordinary step that rarely ends peacefully. It effectively shuts down any possibility of negotiation. If the man at the top is a wanted criminal in the eyes of the U.S. government, then any future diplomatic resolution becomes functionally impossible. This forces the administration into a corner, either back down and look weak, or escalate further to fulfill the implied threat of force. Furthermore, we have to look at the domestic impact. This is a move that will likely energize the administration's base, particularly the Cuban-American community in Florida, a critical battleground state. It frames the presidency as one of strength and uncompromising resolve against perceived global threats. However, the international fallout could be severe. Allies in the region, and even adversaries across the globe, will be watching closely to see how far the United States is willing to go. If an invasion is genuinely on the table, we are talking about a major kinetic conflict on our doorstep. The risks of destabilization, a refugee crisis, and international condemnation are massive. There is also the question of the legal basis. Bringing a head of state to account through the U.S. justice system is a legal minefield. Does the U.S. have jurisdiction? How will they enforce this warrant? The fact that the indictment is already returned suggests that the administration has built a case that they believe can withstand international scrutiny, or at the very least, a case that provides the moral and legal justification they need to justify more aggressive actions, including the potential deployment of military assets. The situation is fluid, and we are tracking every update as it comes through the wire. We are moving into a phase of U.S.-Cuba relations that feels more like the early 1960s than the modern era. The question is whether this is a bluff designed to force a change from within, or a legitimate precursor to boots on the ground. So, what do you think about this? Do you support the indictment of Raul Castro, or do you think the administration is playing a dangerous game that could lead to war? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to know where you stand on this potential turning point in our foreign policy. The coming days will be critical. If the administration follows through with the threats made by the president, we could be looking at a completely different landscape in the Caribbean by this time next week. We will be here to break down every development, every leak, and every official statement. Stay tuned, stay informed, and stay ready for whatever happens next.